Greetings, Blade Gang. This old sword back with you once again. And guess what? It's Lucas Burnley and Boker time again. With, yes, yet another iteration of his getting to be well-known Kwaiken design. Japanese Kwaiken. And what we have here is the Kwaiken Air. Why is it called the Air, you might ask? Well, you might assume that it's because it's so light. And we're going to check that out in a moment. Got a little oil on the blade, pardon me. I worked this in a little bit upon getting it yesterday from White Mountain Knives. Not an expensive knife. Depends upon your budget, but it's up in the 80s. I believe. Don't hold me to that. Yeah. We'll do a price check later. It is from VG10. It's not an expensive steel, but I would say a notch or two above not 440, a notch or two above D2 for stain resistance for sure. A lot of Spyderco knives way back when were made from VG10, the Japanese Spyderco knives. Anyway, this is a flipper with a very subdued flipper tab, and this one has the Jade G10, natural G10. A nice deep carry pocket clip that's not reversible, unfortunately, but does seem to be inset into the G10, so it's just about even with the surface, including the screws. More and more makers are getting that idea that that's what we want. So we have a blackened steel frame with G10 overlay. The frame's exposed. You can see it. There is a lanyard pin in the back. Almost couldn't see it. These blacked out knives, and I'm looking through a camera screen, can tend to sort of lack detail for me, not so much later in the video. And I believe that 0823 is a model number, or maybe not. Let's see. Well, once again, not sure if it's a model number or a count, blade count. I'll let you decide. Doesn't faze me one way or the other. So let's do some quick specs. Little strong on the detent, by the way. So you got to give it a quick light switch, and it opens just fine. If you hang out on it for a while and think about it, it's pretty hard. But, you know, pick it up. Just go like that, no problem whatsoever. I believe it's going to have a 3.5-inch blade, but let's see what it is overall. It's, we're going to call it 8.5 inches, kind of rounding around. And we're going to call it like, actually, like a 3.6 inch blade, coming up on 3.7. Got a cutting edge of about the same, 3.6. Okay. Let's see what we got for blade stock. A little on the thin side, but it's a light knife. I'm going to call that 2.5 millimeters. And 0.45 inches for the handle thickness. Now the all-important weight to see if it is indeed qualifying as a Air. So we've got 2.85, 2.86 ounces. Well under 3 ounces. So yeah, I would say it's an air weight knife. Here's an interesting comparison for you. Recognize this guy? Cricket CEO. How about that for a side-by-side? Even has the swedge on top. Lucas's designs have been criticized for adding that swedge, but you do see it on the traditional Kwaikens and Tontos. I've seen it at least. So you can't really fault the man for being traditional, or somewhat traditional with his blade designs. But, you know, the CEO isn't that much shorter than the Kwaiken Air. It doesn't like to behave, though, because it's got such a pronounced clip. So, about an inch shorter. Very similar, though. They both hide the blade completely when closed. See that? Basically have a stick. Would even function very well for that kind of thing. Now, I have this auto here. That is the Kwaiken Burnley Boker auto. Out the front, I should say. And I actually do have an out the side auto from ProTech, of course, and Burnley design, marketed by Boker. So there's a comparison. Let's even them up for you. I like even. So there's the out the side, there's the out the front, and there's the Kwaiken Air. All very similar blade shapes, although that blacked out blade's a little hard to see on my black background. And the out the side auto, same thing, completely hides. In fact, they give you that little trench so you can push the blade in when you lock it closed. This, of course, is out the front, so that doesn't have any bearing on it, but very similar angled trapezoidal handle shapes from Mr. Burnley. Well, let's take another look around. By the way, came in this ginormous case. So when I opened it up, and also Boker gives you these boxes that are like vaults. They're cardboard boxes, but they're amazingly thick and rigid. I think if they spared a little money on the boxes, and they could probably up the steel to like 154 or something. But look how that disappears down in this big thick case. And all that's over here is some little bit of reading materials on Boker. But I almost couldn't find this knife when I first took it out. So there's another view, and these do come in, I think there's a titanium version. Couldn't find that. A little better, a little more expensive handle materials. And maybe blade materials on that one, not entirely sure. This does come in various other micartas and G10s, and not blackened. So, you know, check them out on White Mountain. You may find one that suits you. And last I looked, they're all in stock. So, nice lightweight EDC knife if you're traveling light, church on Sunday, gentleman's knife, even stuff it in your shirt pocket. The Boker Kwaiken Air, designed by Lucas Burnley. Be well, like this vid, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you soon.